Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. We are on December 11th, I believe. Yes,
Yes.
December 11th. And this is Phoenix Talks with Brenda Wolf, also known as Micah. Sometimes I reverse that. It just depends on my mood for the evening. And I'm joined by my lovely co host, Diane RDBIASI. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
And
Such
we
a
are on,
juicy topic tonight.
oh my God, we're going to have so much fun with this one.
Yes,
I know we're going to have fun with this one.
always.
So, and I got my new Eagle shirt going, rocking that. So we're gonna.
Rocking it.
Well, what are we talking about tonight? We are talking about on episode 35. Can you believe that?
No.
It's crazy to me. And we only got one more to next week, and then that'll be it for 2024. And we won't see you again after next week until
The new
25.
year.
That's crazy to me. So between now and then, it's a perfect time to clear the clutter.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How many of us, would come in from a rough day at work, we've just checked the mail and we just toss it on the table. I'll get to that later. We toss the coat over the back of the chair, guilty.
Yes.
And we just wind up with all this clutter all around the house and then all of a sudden we can't think straight. We don't understand why.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that. Uh, and that's really speaking specifically to your environment. I am one of those where that like I'm looking at my space right now and I'm like, oh God, I have to declutter because there's too much stuff now. Exactly what you just said is happening right now. Just what
Yes.
I'll be doing when we get off.
And I apologize, I'm a little slow getting in the chat real quick. Quick shout out to Miss D and Miss Carrie. They're joining us in chat. Be sure if you guys got any questions, any comments to throw them in. I'll look to the side every once in a while and address them.
Yes.
But
So
yeah,
on the note to your environmental piece to it, it is 100% true. I know that your clarity of thought is directly related to the chaos in your space. Chaos in your space equals chaos in your brain sometimes too. So that if we're starting with the environment, that's a great place to start because it starts from the outside. I'd love to add to that external environmental clutter and include what you're watching on television, what you're watching on social media, what you're watching and listening to on whatever you platforms, Netflix, Prime, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're watching and absorbing and receiving stuff that isn't in alignment with a healthier place and space, that can also bring chaos into your space as well, because what you're doing inadvertently is evoking emotions that are not the emotions that you're looking to have expressed in your space, if that makes
so
sense.
choose deliberately.
Correct. Because we
I mean,
like
if
the
you're in the
feel of
mood, if
things.
you were in a mindset to watch you're trying to figure out what you want to watch on TV, and you're in a mood to be scared. Watch a scary movie. That's fine because that's what you want to invite into your environment so that you can experience. Great. If you want to watch something that's going to lift you up, fill you with joy, help you work through something, or if you watch like I do, where it's what should I watch? And I'm scrolling through, and literally my guides point me and say, you need to watch this. And I find out why later. Sometimes after binging 4 episodes, it takes to get there, but still.
Yes. Follow the trail, right? Follow the
Exactly.
dopamine
Exactly.
trail.
Follow the breadcrumbs because
Yes.
they're going to lead somewhere. But
I, I,
totally get that.
yes, I often suggest when you're cleaning up your space, start with your environment, but don't just stop at like what's on your desk and on your bed and whatever. Take it more into what you're allowing yourself, the data that you're inputting. Let me put it that in those terms, because even the music that you listen to, uh, is at its own frequency. So what are we listening to? What are we programming in our subconscious? What are we visually programming into our being?
Mm-hmm.
And is that in alignment with your health and well-being, your overall goals in alignment with the love and compassion that you're trying to achieve and embody for yourself. In what external ways are you cluttering? Are you filling your world with material things that aren't really adding value? They're just part of the programming of must-haves or should-haves, stuff like that. Start giving yourself a, not minimum. I'm not saying go minimalistic. I'm saying clean up. Clean up your space means a whole lot more than just clean up your space.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Hmm.
And a thought came to mind going back to media, especially TV and watching news.
Hmm.
How many people wake up in a great mood, they got lots of energy, they're ready to face the day, they turn on the news just out of habit because they
Hmm.
want to find out what's going on in the world, and then they go to work in a bad mood and can't understand why.
Why? Right.
Well,
Right.
what'd you invite in? Because
Right.
because of that routine. Change the routine. Another example that came to mind, um, of sound that you invite in as well, because you can clutter with vibration. There was a radio station that I was a member of, and they had a show. A couple of the DJs had a special show where they invited all of the listeners to send in songs that were angry. I got through two,
Wow.
and I had to turn the program off because I literally felt my own emotions being altered, and it was making me angry, causing me pain. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, I can't listen to this. And
Right.
it's no offense to anybody. It's just this is not affecting me well. So
Right.
I had to turn that off. And these are just some things to be aware of
Yeah.
as examples of what could be cluttering your experience.
Hmm. Clean up your social media feeds. Most especially like what's on your pages, what's showing up on your algorithm. There's ways to clean that up by, whatever it is you're supposed to do for that specific platform, whether it's a like, a comment, or whatever, to boost the algorithm to bring you more of what it is that you do feel calms your nervous system and brings you peace and joy.
Yeah, we got some activity going on in the chat. Carrie
Okay.
is talking about how literally today she cleared out 15 boxes of crap and took it down to the dumpster. And
Yes.
and while she was doing that, and it's crazy that I was talking about the music, she was listening to R&B just to keep her moving, and she felt awesome while she was doing it. So she
Wonderful.
clearing all that stuff out that she didn't need anymore. Plus, she was putting in the vibrations that made her feel good on the inside while she was doing that.
Beautiful.
So, thank you, Carrie, for allowing us to be able to put this out there in real time that this is how it works. This is how it
Yeah.
affects you.
Yeah, great work. So,
Yes.
so what should we dive into the aspect of cleaning up your uh relationships?
That's going to take me a moment to wrap my head around on how they're cluttered.
So, okay, when you're maintaining contacts and relationships with individuals that really aren't necessarily in alignment with you, and you just kind of like, all right, I guess I have to do this. And when you start bringing in things like obligation and false senses of obligation and responsibility, or trying to people please and take care of other people's needs before your own, even though they're projecting their expectations onto you that don't align with you, like to me, that's people clutter. So who is
Okay.
in your space that is bringing you down and draining you? That to me is people chaos and clutter.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
start evaluating your friendships, your family relationships. Do you need to minimize your time with them? I know we've brought this up in other areas, but this falls under this category too of cleaning up your space.
Nothing Carrie's comment to all of that. Oh, here we go. Told you this
Go.
was going to be a fun episode. Now,
Yes.
just last night I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who we were on the topic of how next year I'm changing my pricing schedule for coaching. And she started to feel guilty. Now, keep in mind, this is a very close friend of mine. And when, and in another conversation with someone else, it was brought up that whenever I have talks with people, whenever I get on the phone with someone, some type of coaching happens. It's just in my nature. It's just who I am. And if you're a close friend of mine and I grab the because they're just calling out and that's just the type of relationship that we have. I don't expect payment for that. So there's no guilt that needs to be attached. Because she was like, but every time you give me all this coaching, I feel guilty. And I'm like, stop. Here's the difference. And this is why it applies, because this is part of the people clutter that you're talking about, where it turns into expectation that, oh, well, he's always been there for me. He's always done this for me. So whenever I need it, I can just call him up and just get that out of it. That's when it becomes clutter. That's when it changes form
Right,
and the friendship has been taken for granted.
right. So how do we determine what's causing clutter in our relationships? I think if there isn't a balance, if you feel like you're giving more than you're receiving, and you feel like the person isn't necessarily adding value as you would need them to for whatever it is that was supposed to be exchanged, that's an indicator. Does it feel imbalanced? Does it feel like an obligation?
Exactly.
Yeah. And feng shui your house, and I don't mean like to the letter. You can just do little things for yourself to bring yourself more in balance in your environment.
Yeah.
Feng shui your people.
If you are walking through a room and constantly tripping over the same thing, well, definition of insanity. Move it.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to do something different in order to have a different result. And if it's cluttering your capability of being able to just walk across a room,
Right.
I'll be nice.
Okay, so for all the neurospicies out there, here's a $1 million tip. I made that up. It's not actually worth anything except to you. Don't put it down, put it away.
Truth.
That's your mantra. And you can catch yourself mid putting down and stop yourself and say, don't put it down, put it away, and then redirect yourself. That's
And
very
that's not just
helpful.
for neurospices. That's good advice for anybody.
That's true, especially for the neurospices.
I mean, save the put it down for when the dog grabs something.
Yeah,
Because the dog's not going to put it away for you. You'll
right,
have.
right. Cleaning up your space ends up giving you an open, this is going to sound strange, but it's the way things work. When you make space for new things by eliminating things that are no longer resonating with you, taking up space unnecessarily, like the gift that grandma gave you 20 years ago that you really never liked, but you kept it because grandma gave it to you, although it doesn't really do anything for you. It's okay to pay that forward to somebody who it might bring joy to. So if it's not really bringing you joy and peace and adding value to your experience, it's okay. You have to give yourself permission and give yourself the what you call it, the reality check about it,
Mm-hmm.
and get rid of that false sense of obligation and responsibility towards it and just let it go. You got to let things go. And that's a lot of challenge for some folks, especially if there's trauma involved with betrayal and whatever, believe it or not, that directly affects the amount of stuff that you have in your space.
It does.
Yeah.
Now, I personally don't know how to work with hoarders. That's out of my forte.
I do. That's one of my things.
I haven't worked with any yet, so I don't have any experiential advice on that.
Yes.
But I
Yeah.
can say, okay, Elsa, let it go.
Hmm. Right. That
That-
does take some time for individuals who have some emotional connection to things, per se. But if we're decluttering our space, remember, is it bringing you joy or is it just you're hanging on to something familiar?
Mhm.
What is that item adding value in your experience? How is that item adding value in your experience? Or is it adding to the chaos and confusion?
And if you decide, let's, I think we should probably shift back into, since we were on to hoarders, so many of us on varying levels. I mean, you've got some hoarders that you have to crawl through to get from one side of the house to the next. Then you
Mhm.
have the hoarders that are paper savers. And I'm addressing this directly because it's being talked about in the chat.
Okay, what
Yeah.
do we have in the chat?
Well, they're talking about keeping papers from children throughout the years.
Oh God, yes, that's so hard.
How many boxes upon boxes upon boxes do parents have of artwork that they're so proud of when their children bring it home and then they never look at it again until it's cleanup day?
So my recommendation, but do what you will with it and tweak it for your own personal needs. I can only share what I do for myself because I have two children and a Tupperware in a basement somewhere of that. I took the most meaningful one from each age range and have that saved. That's
Right.
really not for me ultimately. It's really for my kids. What would they want of themselves moving forward? And just give one great example of the stage of which they were in.
Mhm.
So that's what I do. Tweak it for yourself. Otherwise, you do have 10 Tupperwares of nothing but scribbles on
Minimum.
a page.
I mean, gratefully, I mean, this generation of children, the Tupperwares are going to be smaller
Yeah, because
and
everything's
portable.
electronic.
Most of their Tupperwares are going to be portable and you can put it in your pocket. So, but for our generation and, the one right behind us, directly behind us, there's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
There's a lot of arts and crafts. There's a lot of handwritten things. Oh, the first time that they ever wrote cursive, or the first time that they glued macaroni shells that hadn't been cooked yet to make some kind of design on construction paper that just kind of fell apart as soon as you picked it up. And you're like, oh!
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yes.
So here's my suggestion. If you're trying to organize things and not just memoirs that the kids brought home, memoirs in general, go through them. If there is a feeling that you enjoy attached to that, because you did, when you placed your hands on that, took a look at it, you put an imprint, not only on what you're looking at, but also inside. So if that imprint comes up when you're holding that object, that piece of paper, whatever the case is, and you want that feeling and you enjoy that feeling, and to be able to go back to it at any time, save it. If it's, yep, that's macaroni on a torn piece of construction paper, that's going in the garbage.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But choose wisely. To allow yourself permission first to declutter because I know it's hard. I used to do a 6 month, what I call the purge. Every 6 months, I go through my closet. If I haven't worn it in 6 months to a year, it's out. Depending on what it is. Obviously, you have stuff for fancy occasions that you only get to wear for fancy occasions. That kind of stuff is in a different category. I'm talking about the everyday stuff.
Yes.
So, you can clean up your closet in that way. Make piles for yourself. If we're talking about situations where there's extreme clutter, make piles. Keep it, donate it, sell it. Or trash it. I mean, maybe 4 piles. Depends on what
Yeah.
you want. If you don't want to sell anything, donate or trash. So, just little things, do little sections at a time. Sometimes it gets overwhelming when we clutter our lives, if we're talking about the physical world. So do little tiny sections at a time. Just promise yourself you're going to do the right corner of that one room and that's it, nothing else.
Hmm.
And don't judge yourself for how far you get because you're going to get distracted by each piece that's there. Make head.
Especially if there are any pictures.
Yes. Yes. Just make headway. That's all. Just give yourself the gift of making more space. You build the momentum that way. You just build the momentum towards feeling lighter. Because ultimately, all this stuff is weighing you down. All the clutter in your world is weighing you down and draining you. And that's not just the material world. It's, what are you
Hmm.
receiving? What data is being programmed and received into you? That's weighing you down too.
Yeah, Dee made a funny comment in the chat. She said that she has work clothes, sleep clothes, and smule shirts. And for those of you who don't know what Smule is, it's a karaoke app that the myself and the ladies in the live chat all sing on frequently. So
That's beautiful. Yes. So there's little things, there's little gifts we can give ourselves with cleaning our space out. And remember, when you do that, you're making room for new opportunity and new things to present themselves to you. Everything that you're hanging onto, if it's not in alignment with you, is just taking up space and not allowing you to move forward.
ooh, I just heard a different direction we need to take this in.
Let's
It's
go.
completely relevant and perfect segue
Let's
because
go.
clearing the clutter from exes,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
people that we are no longer in contact with,
Right.
hurt us in the past, previous people. Now, how long do you hold on to? It's completely up to you, but how long do you want to hold on to something that associates your mind and your energies with something bad that happened? Now,
Right.
if it's a meaningful separation, it's like on my Christmas tree, I have ornaments from my ex-husband because they're
Mhm.
still here. But we have good energy between us. There wasn't anything negative that caused us to separate. But there were a lot of things that I've held on to that I had to discern whether or not if I'm keeping this because I really like it, or if I'm keeping it because it's a memory of who it gave it to me.
Right. That's a spicy one right there.
It's a difficult one, and it takes a lot of courage
Yeah.
to agree within
Yeah.
to toss.
Yeah.
A lot got tossed from other finally, because I had held
Mhm.
on to that energy for years. And it was just like,
Right.
why do I continuously feel like I'm being sapped of energy and in a bad mood? And I'll look up and see, oh, that's why. Yet
Yeah.
I still kept it.
Yeah.
See, guys, you're not alone.
Right.
We all, so many of us do the same thing. I'm not
Yeah.
going to say we all do because some are just higher advanced and quick to think that way.
Or minimalistic.
Yeah. Oh, that person hurt me. I'm done. And everything goes on the lawn.
Yeah. And that's true for even things you accumulate from other people, including gifts that really don't hold any value for you. Get rid of those. It's okay to get rid of those. It's the love energy that you got from receiving it that matters. You don't need to keep it. It's it's okay to donate it and move it forward to someone who may enjoy it instead.
You guys
Um,
are
don't.
so you're not watching the live show and in the chat room, you are missing out tonight. Sorry, I had to get that out. I didn't mean to interrupt you,
It's
but
all good.
but there's such a great conversation going on. So if you're watching the replay, try and get in one of the live broadcast because the chat room is on fire tonight and
That's great.
bonfire in the front yard. That's why I interrupted.
It's awesome. I'm going to throw into the chat now, also the topic of, are you hanging on to something that someone asked you to hang on to for them, but now it's been like 5 years? There's a lot of that happens too.
I have a piece of stibnite that I have been babysitting. Stibnite's a gorgeous stone. It almost looks like strands of silver that just kind of exploded.
Okay.
But I've been holding on to this for 12 years,
Wow.
babysitting it.
Wow.
And the owner of it's like, well, I don't know if I should take. If do you want to? I don't know. Okay, I'll hold on to it till you're ready because I like the energies of it and I don't mind holding on to it. But it's
Okay.
one of those things of okay, you're babysitting it, you're holding on to it for somebody. Are you gonna come and get it back?
Right. Right.
I've got a really comfortable blanket that a previous roommate left. It's nice and fuzzy. I'm keeping that.
What is that? I think it's I can't remember the Japanese term for it, but it's like I don't remember. I'm not even gonna try. Um, if it doesn't bring you joy and peace, get rid of it. Just you can't get rid of your electric bill. I'm sorry. That's gotta stay. It works for the most things, but not for certain.
If you want to declutter your bills, pay them off.
Yeah.
That's the only advice that I can give.
Hmm.
if
Yeah.
you want the clutter to decrease, okay, turn off a few more lights,
Yeah.
get a few less door dashes, but not in my area because I need the business.
Yes. Part of it is we're hanging on to all this old energy, and energy has to move. It can't stay stagnant. If it stays stagnant for too long, then it's kind of draining. So energy always has to move. And all these pieces are carrying the energy of from which they came, or from the folks that gave it to us, or from ourselves from a different state of being and place, different mindset. So we're even carrying our own clutter from yesteryear as well.
Oh yeah.
And this time of year, there's a lot of new stuff that comes into your space and just piles on top of the old stuff. So it's definitely a reevaluation time, which is why this is such a great conversation for right now.
It really is.
Yeah.
And a thought just came to mind of if you ever walk through your house and you come to a spot, and almost every time you get to that spot, and I know this is resonating for somebody, but if you ever come to a spot and you slow down or you stop and you almost, as you're walking by it, you almost forget what you were doing, where you were going, why you were there, because there was something about it that just throws you off. It's almost like you walk into a different kind of energy. If you notice that, recognize that, take a look at what's around because there's something there that you
Mhm.
can't see
Right.
that's blocking the flow. It could be an object, it could be a picture, it could be a piece of furniture, it could be a sock on the floor that you didn't realize was there underneath the couch. Take a look because it's cluttering your flow. It's messing the feng shui up.
Messing your flow. That's right. Absolutely. So with people, okay, part of that decluttering your relationships and people is like you said, handling stuff that's still laying around that isn't in your life anymore. So are we keeping that old energy? Do you need to hang on to it? Do you just return it? What do you do? Just get rid of it. Whatever that looks like, whether you call the person and tell them come get it, whether you mail it to them, whether you donate it, it doesn't really matter. What matters is you clean your space so that you make room for what new stuff is meant for you.
Mm-hmm. And that's a gift you can give yourself
Yeah,
prior
absolutely.
to any other gifts that you receive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this time of year, we're going to receive a lot of gifts we don't want. necessarily, which is a blessing. I mean, let's talk about the blessing part of it. But at the same time, not everyone understands what our needs are and what is, most effective for us. So we do get, the knit um tissue box cover. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just certain things that, maybe it resonates with you, but maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, it's okay to say thank you, but then move it on somewhere else if it's just occupying a space and place that is creating this sense of like ugh in you. And you know what that means. Ugh.
Now,
There's no words for that.
question in the chat. We actually have one.
Okay.
Dee's saying that she's still got her son's first wedding picture and they're no longer together.
Mm-hmm.
What does she do with that?
Give it to her son. Let him decide.
Exactly.
Yep.
Or it's part of his life journey.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't, and that's one thing as a single man this year that I decided to honor when I was decorating. That decorations that I've acquired over the years, regardless of who I was with, if I had them, they're going out because I'm honoring the journey and the people that have impacted my life, whether it be positive or negative. I'm honoring them. So if you if you want to keep it because it's part of your son's journey, keep it. If you don't, if it feels awkward having that, if he doesn't like it, let him decide.
Yeah. Yep. If you like him in the picture, you can do the old-fashioned uh Photoshop.
Or take it to Walmart, scan it, and you can do it that way so that you don't ruin the picture because I know you.
There you go.
Edit it out. Don't rip up the paper because
Right, right, right. There's a bunch of stuff that we hang on to that's really unnecessary and clogging our flow.
yes.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, what a great chat we're having tonight.
I know, right?
That's fantastic. But yeah, most especially cleaning up the clutter with with regards to your relationships within the material aspect, within the, visual aspect online or whatever. I mean, there's still like maybe things in your memories that pop up. Like on Facebook, we have our Facebook memories pop up and they're popping up with stuff like an X, a picture of you two
Mm-hmm.
together kind of thing. You can take those off of your Facebook page. You can delete all of those photos.
Yep.
There's no reason why they're still there if that's not a part of your life.
And they won't and they
Important.
won't, mess up the environment or by going to a landfill. So there's that aspect too.
Hmm. Right. Clean up your space. I love it. This is such a great declutter, declutter your life, declutter your mind, declutter everything.
Yeah. And what, going back to social media, no more TV, no more radio, social media. How many chats do you have?
Hmm.
How many chats do you have that you don't use?
Hmm.
How many chats do you have that are from people that you haven't talked to years?
Right. Right.
Energy's still going.
Yeah.
This connection's still there. You okay with that? If you are, you don't have to listen to this.
I think what a lot of folks aren't consciously aware of is the energetic tether that maintains with these specific things that we're hanging on to, whether it be electronic, physical, or mental or interactive. So we do need to realize that that tether keeps us in a place, in a state sometimes that we don't want to be in and we don't even realize it.
Yeah. And Carrie picked up on where I was about to go next because she said it in the chat. Because one of
Right.
our one of our mutual friends that passed away in over the summer,
Okay.
she has kept those chats, as have I. And there's a period of time where we want to still have that connection with people who have passed and crossed over.
Hmm.
That we can just, and thanks to the age of technology, we can just scroll to that particular chat, open it up, and we can just go back and relive that moment whenever we want to, for
Yeah.
as long as we need to.
Yes. Again, it has to be in alignment with your own health and well-being. And if it's part of the grieving process and it helps you and it keeps you in that healthier state of uh, mind and emotion when it comes to that person, that's fine. We're not talking about that kind of stuff.
No.
Lord knows there's plenty of folks out there who have their deceased loved ones things still,
Hmm.
and keep those special things. That's a whole different category altogether.
Absolutely.
That's totally fine. Now, if you're keeping their dirty underwear, that's a whole nother topic because we don't need to do that. Even in that instance, select that which, listen, I went there.
Unless they're really rich and famous, and what they wore is going to be worth something to some strange collector that will pay millions for it, get the fuck rid of it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. You're reminding me of a Big Bang episode where Penny gave Sheldon a used napkin that Leonard Nimoy signed, and it was his DNA on there. Then he would keep in it forever.
Did he think he was going to live long and prosper as a result?
Yeah.
Sorry.
The idea is if it's not beneficial to your health and well-being overall, consider releasing it to another individual, throw it out or something else. But
Yeah.
regardless, you do need to clean up the energy tethers that are in your experience. And I'm calling them energy tethers. Yeah.
Hmm.
If you keep watching the news every morning, you're going to keep feeling, not as good as you did when you woke up.
Right.
Yes. A lot
Especially
of folks.
all day
Mhm.
visiting one of my neighbors. She's always got her TV on. It's either the news, The View, Judge Judy, Steve Wilkos, Jerry Springer, and I'm like, no wonder you're so confused.
Yes. Yep.
She get it.
It's problem after problem after problem after problem after problem
Mm-hmm.
being programmed into your mind and heart.
Yeah.
So if you reframe it like that and shift your perspective on it in a sense where it's not adding value to you and it's keeping you in a state that you don't want to be in and draining you, you'll allow yourself to get rid of it and you'll feel the difference. That you have to first clean the clutter before you can feel what that feels like.
Right. Oh, I got a good one for you. Okay. Here's how much the subconscious hears that you're not aware of. You ever been on the phone with somebody who has kind of cheap earbuds and you can hear the background noise better than you can hear them? Okay, you got that image and you got that reference in your mind? Okay. That's your subconscious at work as well, because your subconscious is listening, feeling, tasting, touching everything around you and filtering out into your conscious what you need. Meanwhile, it's storing everything.
Yeah.
And you could know something that you didn't realize that you knew, that you heard from across the room, but you weren't paying attention to it because your nice little subconscious wanted to make sure that you were focusing on the person in front of you. So it just kind of dialed that down a little bit into what you were bringing in so that your conscious wasn't cluttered,
Mhm.
but your subconscious is.
Right. Right. All of it is programming. I mean, if you think about it in terms of like, what are we programmed to keep? What are we programmed to look at? What are we programmed to listen to? What are we programmed to respond to? If you're looking at all of those things in that sense, what do you want in your space? You get to decide ultimately.
Yes.
Do you want that sweater that, Aunt Betty gave you that doesn't even fit and you never liked? Why are you keeping it?
But you know, as Michael Bublé sings, if you got a Christmas sweater, put it on. If they laugh at you, they're supposed to. That's the point. I didn't get that until this year because I always felt stupid wearing those things because I didn't get it. Like, damn, I'm not as fun as I thought I was because my mind's too cluttered with everything else we've talked about in the last 34 episodes.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect opportunity to clear your mind, clear your social media, clear your house, clear the clutter.
Clear your relationships that
Clear,
aren't working,
yeah.
that are too demanding and too imbalanced.
So
Yeah,
I mean, we could go on and on, but I think they're full up. Are you full up?
I think they're full up.
Yeah.
Carrie and Dee, are you filled up?
Oh, they could talk for hours. They're having another conversation that I won't address on air,
Okay.
but it it's a little bit touchy and personal for them. So
Okay.
I won't. But wow, this I want to keep going, but I know that you have a time restraint today, and you need to finish eating before that time restraint happens. But wow, what an amazing podcast today. I
I
really
know.
enjoyed this. I'm
It was a
and I'll let them
conversation.
know that I don't remember what the first one was, but it was weird for me this time because it was actually okay. You got an option, and it was clear the clutter. Do you remember the second one?
Uh, I actually don't. I'd have to go back into the chat and look at it.
Yeah, but it was like, all right, I'll ask her, and she can decide, and we'll go from there.
And it was immediate. Nope, clear the clutter. That's so important,
It was so
especially right
fast.
now.
It was so fast. Just like I don't even have to think about this clutter.
Yep.
And I'm so glad you did because I have had an amazing time. And thanks to Dee and Carrie for being in the live chat. And if you're watching the replay, throw some comments in that I can go back and respond to. I'd love to share it also with Diane. She's not on my channel on YouTube, but I make sure that she knows what's going on if anything comes through.
I
And
love the feedback.
yep, and I'll post the links for reaching out to her, reaching out to me. My link is in the channel bio. I made it really easy to find. And one almost last Phoenix Talks reminder for my membership group, which I don't think I told Diane I changed the name of. It has a new name.
Oh,
It's
what is
no
it?
longer Subscribe and Rise, even though that's what I will still use to promote it, just so that people can find the original video here on YouTube. But it's now called Risers in Flight.
Ooh, oh, I like that. Oh, that's a good one.
So, and that's a bi-weekly call. The next one is the Sunday before Christmas, actually, at 1 p.m.
Okay.
And the if you join, the first call is on me so that you can experience what happens between myself and all the other members. It's one-on-one coaching. It's tarot readings, oracle readings, energy scans, whatever comes through, whatever's needed for up to 2 hours every 2 weeks. And until December 31st at 11:59, it's $30 a month.
Great.
Once we hit 2025, it goes to 55. So you can't get better value than that.
Right.
Plus, after if you want more details, contact me and I'll let you know more because there are added bonuses that I have going on with it. But I don't want to take too much more of Diane's time. Her time is precious. Your time is precious. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we will see you next week with whatever Diane decides that she wants us to talk about.
Okay, I'll tune in and I'll let you know.
All right. Sounds great. Love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Love you all.
And we will see you next time.
Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.